So, actually, there are many stories like that, but I will just pick up two. Um, One is the Angulimala story. I may have told this earlier, so please bear with me if you have heard this before. So, well, I'm not going to tell the whole story of Angulimala. Basically, what happened is Angulimala killed a lot of people, you know, to get their finger, etc. So after he became an arhat, he killed almost 1,000 people, right? So after becoming an arhat, follower of the Buddha, he became an arhat, and he went alms begging to beg for food every morning, and then he crossed by one village. So he, since it's commonplace in those days in India, during Buddha's time, to go begging for food. So he went begging for food, and then he came to a certain village, and then he started begging for food. They offer him food, and then one of the kids in the one of the young men in the village sort of recognize Angulimala, and then they say, "Oh, he's the guy who killed my father," and then the other was like, "Yes, he's the one who killed my mother," etc. So it seems like Angulimala in one of his earlier time, has almost wiped out half of that village in order to get the fingers. And then, of course, then even though monks are highly respected those days, but still they cannot. I mean, it's really personal, right? So they cannot hold back their anger and their um, anymore, and so they decided to beat him up. They beat up Angulimala, and Angulimala suffered severely uh, because he was beaten up to like death, very, very badly beaten. Later, other monks come and helped him up, and then he was brought to the to the they don't have a monastery at that time, so it's like he was brought to the community, and then he went through, how do you call, they cared after him, but anyway, he died after this wound. So the story was that even though he is an arahant, he has to he is not free from being inflicted injuries or pain, uh, because that pain, that injury and the pain, that beating is something that he deserve. Okay, deserve. So I'm using this word very carefully. He deserves to be beaten because he beat up others. Um, and then this is something one must come to terms, especially as a Buddhist practitioner. If you are suffering at this moment, you deserve to suffer, okay? Because you have worked very hard to suffer like this, okay? Um, so it sounds very harsh, very blunt. It sounds like, oh, like why someone in a monk's clothes saying something like that? But then that is how it is. If you are suffering, you deserve to suffer. But at the same time, you also have the potential to come out of that suffering as well. Okay, there is that as well. If you are suffering right now, it is because you have earned that suffering. You have done something negative to suffer like this. So you deserve whatever suffering you are going through, but at the same time, you also have the potential to come out of that suffering too. Okay. So therefore, why I'm saying this thing, which seems very harsh, is because once you know that you deserve the suffering, you accept the suffering. If you cannot accept that suffering is extended, prolonged, okay, someone beats you up, someone do something bad to you, you don't accept it, it is being prolonged. Someone does something bad to you, right? I don't know, like someone beat you up or do something negative, say something negative to you. That action takes place for like maybe 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Okay, if someone is saying very bad thing to you, like let's say someone says you are a moron. Okay, you are a moron. So these four words, how long did it take? Maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds, that's it. So when someone says something negative to someone did something negative to you, or you're suffering from such a consequences, when you accept it, that it's done, it's in the past. But if you do not accept it, why someone say that to me? how can they call me a moron? I'm not a moron, blah, 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 like that. Then it's prolonged. Your pain was short, but your suffering is long. Your pain was short, but your suffering is long because you are making it long. You understand? So therefore, once you accept the consequences of your karma, whatever suffering you're going through, when you accept it, then the suffering ends there. Okay? If you do not accept the suffering, if you keep saying, why me, why me, why me, then the suffering gets prolonged for hours, days, months, etc. like that. Yeah. So therefore, tell yourself, whatever I'm going through, any negative, whatever pain I'm going through, I deserve this because I work so hard to get this pain. Okay. After accepting this, then also accept the fact that you have the potential to come out of that pain, to out of that suffering. So accept the suffering. Yeah. Accept the pain, and the suffering is stopped. Accept the consequences of your karma, and your suffering stops. If you do not acknowledge and accept the consequences of your karma, you keep asking, blaming this person, that person, the government, I don't know, all the different conditions, this and that, never taking the blame yourself. I deserve this pain. Uh, Until you say that thing, your pain, your suffering continues like that. So Arahat Angulimala accept his consequences because he know this is because he killed so many people. Yeah, he accept that. Then all his debt karmic debt is cleared off, and then he dies. So when he dies, there's something called nirvana, right? Nirvana with a body and nirvana without the body. Okay, nirvana with the body, nirvana without the body. So once you achieve arahathood, you attain nirvana. So the first stage of nirvana is nirvana with a body, or nirvana with a remaining body. That's what it's called. Okay, uh, nirvana with a remaining body. Mm. So once you are able to clear off not only your negative afflictive emotions, the negative mind, but also the karmic, when you are able to clear off your karmic debt, then it's called nirvana without a remainder, or nirvana without a remaining body. So when Angulimala dies, then he transcend from the nirvana with the remaining body, he transcends from nirvana with the remaining body to nirvana without a remaining body. Remaining meaning remaining of the karmic consequences still remain there. That's a remaining body. Body does not mean like this body. Okay, body means just like a, when you put a bunch of things together, it's called a body, right? A body of flowers, a body of rocks, like that. So body means something that is put together, a heap, a bunch. uh, so a remainder body basically means the karmic consequences are still there. It's a remainder body. The karmic consequences are cleared off, then no body. So yeah, I'm not gonna make it very long. The story. So the Angulimala is one part. Then Mogalina, I'm not gonna tell the whole story. So Mogalina was basically just a very short story, end of the story. So the Mogalina was beaten up also. He was beaten up by a bunch of people. Um, um, so when Mogalina, like Shariputra and Mogalina, the two main disciples of Buddha. So he was beaten up by a bunch of people when he went out for alms begging. So when he got beaten up, and then he come to um uh he afterwards the monks helped him, and then he was brought back to the Buddha, right? And then people asked him like, uh Mogalina, Venerable Mogalina, you are so Shariputra is known as the master, the supreme wisdom, and Mogalina is, during Buddha's time, he is known as the supreme miracles. So he is the one who performs the greatest miracles during Buddha's time. So you are the master of miracles. You can do any magic tricks you want, any miracles you can perform. So you could have like when those people try to beat you up, you could have just do some magic, do some miracles, and then maybe beat them up or run away or disappear, whatever, right? And then the answer to that, Mogalina's answer to that, I'm just making it very simple. So Mogalina's answer to that was that let alone perform the miracles, okay? Let alone perform the miracles. I couldn't even think about performing the miracles. So doing miracles is one thing, right? And to think or to make a decision that you want to you do the miracle, that's another thing, right? It's thinking is easier. Like I can think of going to America, to different places, but to actually go to America, that's a totally different thing. You have to make a lot of effort. But to think that I'm going to America, that's not difficult. So let alone performing a miracle, even the thought of performing a miracle didn't occur to me. And then that at that moment, the Buddha interjected. He said that that is because of your karma. So when your karmic consequences are have ripened, when it's time, the karma is mature enough, then you can be a great arahat, you can be a great bodhisattva, no matter what. Okay, when the karmic consequences are the time has come, then you have to go through it. You have to suffer it. You have to accept it. There is no way over it. So Mogalina, great miracle, the performer of greatest miracles during Buddha's time, when it's time for him to get beaten up, he has to get beaten up. There's no way over it. So Buddha said, when the karmic consequences are ripe enough, then there's no way, nothing, there's no way to get over it. If karma is so hard to understand, even great bodhisattvas uh, have to fall through it. Even great arhats have to fall through it. Uh, they are not able to escape that karmic consequences. So, what is this karmic consequences, right? As we talk about this earlier, even I understand karma, right? Karma means do good things, enjoy, do bad things, suffer. That's what karma means. What's so difficult to understand, right? So simple. That's what karma is basically, right? Uh, how can a great bodhisattva or a great mahasiddha like Shariputra, sorry, Mogalina or Angulimala, this and that, arahats, even arahats don't seem to understand or put into effect karmic the teachings on karma. What is this karmic consequence tasting? What is karma, right? What is this this secret of karma that we are not able to understand? Yeah. So to explain that, Master Nagarjuna state the next verse. So I will just read the next verse in English first this time. Know this truth, verse number 48, okay? Know this truth that men are ever sad. Uh, Here men does not mean men and women, men, okay? It means men in general, like just everybody, all human beings. So that all human beings are ever sad, okay? Not just men as in males. The men are ever sad. That's the first impermanent, devoid of self, and impure. So call this the those who do not have close mindfulness, their view 4 times inverted, head for ruin. So this is known as the 4 wrong views. So when you talk about the right view, okay, having a right view, basically right is the opposite of wrong. So if you are talking about having a right view in order to escape suffering and samsara, blah blah blah, all this thing. So if you are talking about the right view, the appropriate view, the proper view, so what is this appropriate from? Appropriate, right, proper means not wrong, not improper, not inappropriate. So what is on the other side? What is on the darker side, the improper side, the inappropriate side, the wrong side? What is on the wrong side, right? So on the wrong side, there are these 4 points, or four truths, four wrong truths, let's call it that way. So four wrong things, that is that human beings, that sentient beings, are always sad. Okay, I will explain what this means later. That they are always sad, that they are impermanent, that they are no self, and then they are impure. As long as you are aware of these four facts, then you will be able to liberate yourself from karmic chain. As long as you are stuck, as long as you are stuck in there, as long as you don't understand these four wrong views, 4 points, then you will be stuck in samsara. Even if you're able to get rid of your afflictive emotions like anger, hatred, attachment, if you get rid of that, if you do not understand, if you do not like truly understand, fully understand these four wrong views, or wrong attitude, wrong mentality wrong mental attitude to be aware of, then you'll still have to suffer karmic consequences in samsara. Oh yeah. So now I'll explain what these things the four wrong views are. Okay. So the first one is that men, okay, meaning human beings, are sad, ever sad. Meaning that human beings are always under the subject of suffering. And as long as you are in samsara, you are constantly suffering. And because you are suffering, you are in a sorrowful state. You are in a sorrowful state, but you're just not aware of that. So even though your state, your state of being, your livelihood, not your livelihood as in your work, career, relationship, not like that, but your very existence in samsara is a very sad thing, very sorrowful thing, but you're not aware of that. Instead, you think you're doing good. Let's say you get a good job, you think, oh, you're doing very good. You have a good partner, you think, oh, I'm doing very well in life. You make good money, you think, oh, I'm doing very good. Then you get some fame, this and that. You think, oh, I'm good, I'm doing good, I'm doing very well. And then you're happy about it, all this thing. But the underlying current, all these things, yeah, all this happy moment, like a good relationship, good fame, good career, all these things, underlying that thing is something called impermanence. Okay, the second one. And because of impermanence, none of these things gonna last. None of these things is going to last. All the good position you have, the money you have, nothing is going to last. Everything is going to turn into ashes. But we don't think it that way. When things are going good, when things are doing very well, we think it's going to last forever. And then we don't think about the consequences, what the aftermath of this happy moment, happy journey. And so we are constantly happy about small achievements that we make in samsaric world. So basically, samsara by nature is unhappiness or is suffering, but we are not aware of it. Because we are not aware of it, we are happy in samsara. I mean, we are not always happy, of course, right? But there are many moments that we are constantly there are many exciting moments in our life, and we are happy about it. We say, okay, this is life. Life has up and down, and we should go with it, like that. So even though life in samsara, life as a human being is sorrowful, we are not constantly aware of that, and we think we are doing good. So men are sad. Human beings live in a very sad and sorrowful state. That's the nature of human life, but we are not aware of it. Instead, we think we are doing good. Okay. Why we think we are doing good? Because we're not aware of impermanence. We think everything is permanent, everything ever stay like that. if you ask individual person like, oh, do you think you will live forever? And they'll say, oh, no, 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 I'm not going to live forever. I will die. One day, eventually, I will die. People are going to say that. Then you ask them, are you going to die tomorrow? No, 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 I'm not going to die tomorrow. I'm not going to die next moment. I'm not going to die next hour. So even if you ask a person who is 99 years old, you think you're going to die tomorrow? A lot of time they say, no, 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 I'm not going to die tomorrow. I'm going to die soon. I'm 99 years old, but I'm not going to die tomorrow. That's what people think because we have such a strong attachment or craving towards permanence. And this um, strong grasping attachment to the self, to the sense of to impermanence, to permanence, sorry, that thing we are being permanent comes from our grasping, our attachment to the self. So the third wrong view is that there is a self. Because there is a self, everything we do is for the self. Yeah. I will explain that later. I think it's too long now. Yeah. A sorrowful state, impermanence, self, and then impure, right? So we tend to believe we're stuck in the belief, even though we don't think of it like, oh, there is a self, there is a self, right? But subconsciously we are always stuck, attached to that self. So when everything that we do, okay, let's say we do it for a lot of time we say, oh, I'm doing it for the community, I'm doing it for the like for my children, this and that, yeah, not for myself. But then all these things are associated with you, the me, right? The self. Let's say if you're doing it for your country or your community is associated with yourself. That's why you're doing it. If you're doing it for your children or your future, it's still something associated with yourself. So even though you don't consciously call it self, oh, I'm doing it for the self, I recognize the self, I identify the self, you do not do it. Indirectly, everything that you do is for yourself. A lot of time people think I'm not selfish. I'm not a selfish person. I do a lot of things. I build infrastructure, houses, property, whatever for my children's future, for my country. I do this, and but you do it because it's associated with yourself. Yeah. So therefore, it's very difficult to find something that is like 100% selfless, not selfish in this world. So directly we do not identify we do not try to locate or find out, identify the self. But indirectly, everything, 100% everything that we do, think, say, feel is for the self. Therefore, there is such a strong grasping. Okay, in the Dharma Sutra, we use the term grasping. You are holding onto the self so strongly, grasping at it, and you are holding on to the idea of self, even so strong that you don't even have to tell yourself that you are doing it for the self. When you put effort into doing something, that means you are not totally there. When you are totally in there, you do not even have to put effort into it. So that's how strongly, how deeply you are invested into the self. But you are unaware of that. So therefore, because of this self-grasping attitude or the self-grasping mentality that you have, even though the self-grasping mentality is such a strong grasping that you are unaware of it. You are so deeply invested that you're not you're not aware that you are into that thing. So therefore, it's also called ignorance, right? Buddha said that one has to be awakened. When you are asleep, you don't know that you are sleeping. Only when you are awake, then you realize, oh, I have been sleeping for 4 hours, 2 hours, like that. So when you are so deeply invested, deeply stuck under the self, the guise of self, you do not even know that you have such a strong belief, such a strong investment into the self. So strong that everything you do is involved with and for the self. And then if someone asks you, do you believe in a self? No, 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 I don't believe in the self. I'm a Buddhist. We believe in no self. You're like that. Yeah. So intellectually, even myself, the speaker here, intellectually, I know there's no self. I've studied. But on an experiential level, on a practical sense, I also believe, on a practical sense, I still have attachment to myself. That's why I take care of myself. I wear good clothes, have good food, this and that, because I care for the self. Intellectually, I know there is no self. But on a practical level, I also believe that there is a. So for me, I have not mastered or I've not come over and come to terms with the four wrong views. And so therefore, I will suffer in samsara. I will suffer in this life. And I deserve to suffer because I have not understood this truth. And the same goes for everyone. Until you understand this, you will suffer. So the self, the grasping of the self. So we have this attachment to we have this um, misconception, misconceived identification of the self. Okay, misconceived identification of the self, and that itself, the identification of the misconceived identification of the self, that is a different topic by itself. And on top of that, our basically misconceived identification of the self basically means what we think of ourselves when we say me, ourselves. That idea itself is wrong. Okay, how we identify ourselves, that is itself is wrong. To explain that, it will take a long time. So we already have that. On top of that, we're attached to that misconception of the self. Okay, that's the second problem. And now, then on top of that, for ordinary beings like us, the problem is not only that we have a misconceived notion, misconception of the I, the self, the me. Our identification of the me, the self, the I is wrong. Not only that, on top of that, that wrong concept, a lot of ordinary folks, a lot of ordinary people in this world, human beings, not only I have this wrong idea of the self, but they also, including myself, we also associate the self, me, with my body. Okay. So what that entails is that even though me and my body are two separate things, they're related, but they're not the same thing. But everything that I do with my body, I say that I do it, right? Right. And I mean that's how the world runs. If someone that looks exactly like me commits a murder or do something bad, and then they have it on a camera, then the next time I will end up in jail because I will have to prove that I'm not that person, right? I will have a basically my body, my appearance, my shape, my form dictates who I am or what I do a lot of time. If someone that looks like me, a person that looks like me, especially nowadays with AI technology, if someone with my face, someone similar to my face, say something derogatory, something negative, whatever, then people are gonna point fingers at me and so say that, oh, Tongkhor Rinpoche said blah, 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 like that, right? So my body, I am identified, my body is identified as me. Not only you have a misconception of the self, the I, even the identification of the self, the me, the I is wrong. Not only that, on top of that, the I is, the body is mistaken for the self, okay? Even though
Yeah.
intellectually we all know, oh, the self is different from the body because body is form, the body is a physical thing, and I, me, the self is not a physical thing. It's easy to say, but then whatever the form, the body does, I take the blame for that. I take the credit for that. It's someone who looks like my face and says something, do something great, then people will start say, "Oh, Tongkhor Rinpoche is doing good, like that." If someone who looks like me do something bad, I will take the blame. If someone that looks like me, someone with my body does something good, I take the credit, right? So we not only have the misconception of the self, but we have this misconception of ident identifying the body as me. Okay. Now what happens is the body is then what happens? Okay, that is the last one. So what happens is then we identify the body as impure and the self as pure. Mm. What that means is we tend to think that my body decays, my body, you know, my body ages, it dies, my body has many flaws. But the self, I am the self, the me, which is which controls everything, my actions, my body, my activity, my thoughts, that is mine. So the me and the mind, the two things. My body is mine, right? My body is my possession, not me, my property. And I am the propertier, the owner. So you differentiate me and my body and think of my body as impure. Impure does not mean unclean. Impure means if something has a flaw, it means impure. If something is flawless, then it's called pure in this regard, in this sense. So what we have is this misconceived notion of the self. And not only that, you have the misconceived notion of purity and impurity. Everything that you do in this world, all the wrong thing, wrong action you do, you say, my body did it. When you say something bad come from your mouth, oh, my lips, which is part of my body did something bad, not me. I am like the ocean. I am the ocean, always remain steady. My body is the wave, always moving. So the waves are always moving, shaking. That's impure. I am the ocean, which is always steady. So what this does is there is a differentiation between pure and impure. I am pure, my body is impure. So that sort of identification, that sort of thinking. So that idea we all have. Everybody has that idea. And because of that idea, we mistake, we take wrong steps in applying understanding. Yeah, we take wrong steps in understanding law of causality, karma. Because of these four steps, the wrong identification of the self, thinking that the self is impermanent, the self is permanent, sorry, uh, and that the self is pure and the body is impure. And what is the first one? I forgot the first one. Uh, yeah, sorrowful state. So that we keep forgetting that as a samsaric being, no matter how happy we are, underlying that happiness is sadness. So we are ever constantly sorrowful. We are in a constantly sorrowful state. That we are always sorrowful, that we are impermanent, and that we are selfless, and that there is no distinction such as pure and impure. unless one learns it, meditates on it, experiences it, and has a full conviction of these four truths or four wrong views. Okay, for idea of what these four wrong views are, until you understand that completely. Understand meaning inside and outside, inside out, not just from reading, but experientially. Unless you understand that, every step that you make on the path of karma, there will be some mistake and you will suffer as a consequence.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we conclude now and let's go to the dedication. Yeah. So we do the first dedication in Tibetan and then we jump to the Vietnamese dedication, okay? Gewa de nyurdo dan lama sangye drugyuro nendro che nya malu bangye ye sala ge bara sho chanjo semjo rembo che ma ye ban ge yuro je ge ba nya ba me bara yang kone gondo be bara sho. Okay, Vietnamese.
Thank you Rinpoche, là cảm ơn Hưng, cảm ơn tất cả anh chị em.
Thank you very much, là. Xin
Thank
cảm
you so
ơn chị
much.
Anh.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Cảm ơn.
Vâng, không sao ạ.
Xin sám hối thầy và